What is up, everybody? What is up, everybody? What is up, everybody? It is your boy MM2K back again with another episode of SSC Podcast, SSC 67 to be exact. And I'm here with your other host, Project Storm. Storm, how are you doing today, my good friend?
Yo, everything's looking real grimy around me, man. Looking good out here. There's a lot of different things going down around Stadia still, y'all. I can't keep up with all the moves. It's well into August right now, in my opinion. And man, listen, still big things happening on a regular basis, man. Still people confused about certain things, man. But that's why we have a special guest here to help clarify everything.
Yes, absolutely. And this special guest who we were chatting it up so much behind the scenes, I know Storm was like, damn, I can't wait to get a word in edgewise because me and this guest on one show, we're sucking up all the oxygen. No, shout out to our good friend, my spiritual advisor. So I got my shrink here, which is Storm, and I got my spiritual advisor, all things Stadia, Clive E. Linden. Clive, how are you doing today, my good friend?
Yeah, big mouth strikes again. You sure about this? You know how I love to hog that mic. I'm gonna hog that mic. Mike Hogger is here, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, I'm good. I am good. Yeah, great to be on the show again. Love it.
Yes. Awesome stuff. Glad to have you, my good friend. It's good seeing you on either side of the mic in the chat, chatting it up, or even here. It's fantastic to see, and we know a lot of people are heavily anticipating this one. Again, this is SSC episode 67, where today we're going to talk the truth on 2K Stadia support. We got to talk about it. We got to have an adult, grown-up conversation. Clive started this all on Monday, had a fantastic conversation. We're going to continue that, and we're going to talk about what's going on with 2K on Stadia, but we're going to try to X out the rumors, because some rumors may have brewed up, but we're going to clear out the rumors from the facts. So we're going to have that conversation. We're also going to talk about the August pro games, which many consider a great lineup of pro games for August, in particular Grime. And we're going to talk about our hands-on experience with all or some of those games, depending upon our individual cases. And lastly, we're going to talk about Stadia growth. There were some signs. We got a big shout out from our good friend Jack Deslip in regards to continued Stadia growth. We're going to get into that and talk about that. And in the after show, if our good friend Clive Linden can join us for that as well, we're going to be talking about some of this new tech or the deep dives that Stadia's been doing in its tech. Not new tech, but the new deep dives that they've been doing and explaining this tech. What does it say? Why are they doing this all of a sudden? We're going to examine that. But with that said, that is the show. shows the PNTS Network show. We're not going to get into all the nooks and crannies and the builds today because we got so much to talk about. But if you want more information on PNTS Network shows, definitely go to pntsnetwork.com. That promised facelift, it is coming. It is coming. We just had to get new movers. We're working on it. But definitely be there and check out all of our great content coming up. All right. One more thing I want to do before we get into what everybody's been playing. And I got a special edition of this, and I'm going to mix things up for everybody. Let's do this. Oh, that's wrong. I should have checked that out. Okay, that didn't work right. Summer Community Championships are going on. This is week 4 of the Summer Community Championships. And we still, correct me wherever I'm wrong, Clive, people, if they sign up now in week 4, they still have a potential to win over $1,000. Is that correct?
Yeah, because if you win the K's round, you get automatic selection to the final. And depending on how many points you rack up, as well, you may still beat the number of people who there's I forget how many, is it 16 going through?
Yep, yeah, 16 going through.
The winners of each week automatically go through, and then the sort of next 16 in the overall charts across the 4 weeks, and so you could, even the scores are all over the place, you can still get in there if you're pretty handy at platformers. Get yourself onto K's.
The game of the week of week 4 is K's. All the rules are down here. I'm not going to go over it. But again, first prize just for this particular game is $100. Second prize is $50. All you got to do is go to stadiahunters.com/summer-championship. Go ahead and register so you can participate in your opportunity, your chance to rack up over $1,000 in cash prizes. With that said,
okay, do me a favor. Check the mic levels and everything, because Cloudbusters is saying guest mic volume is a little bit low, right? What about anybody else in the chat? Do y'all agree? Do you agree that me and Clive are low? What's the deal?
Mary had a little face was white as snow.
You guys are in the red over here.
Yeah. All right. Okay,
yeah, let us know in the chat. Let us know in the chat, guys. All right. So
I've never heard that before. Speak up. Wow.
Or maybe that was Cloudbuster's way of telling me you need to turn your mic down, MM2K. I'll do that. With that said, shout out to everybody. Hey, look, let's start with Storm, and then we're going to go to Clive. I want to know what you guys played, but I want to know what you played from the pro games. I know everybody's played at least Grime here, but if you played anything else from the pro games, just let us know what you played from the pro games and what your initial thoughts were on that. I'll start with you, Storm.
Man, I can't talk about Control at all. I can't even throw it up in there. I know it's not pro, but I can't throw it in there, though.
You can throw it in there at the end, but I definitely want to hear about them pro games.
So basically, I tried Grime, but me being the Project Storm 4K dude I'm waiting on that 4K, y'all. We'll get into that a little bit later, but I got to say it right now so people know what's going on. Y'all know me, man. The game is brilliant. I love it. I knew it was going to be well received because of the Steam on Revolutionary Storm. Myself and Rev, man, I put it up there. I highlighted the fact that it was the most anticipated game on Steam, so I knew that people were ready for the game. And I knew it being like, Souls-like or Soulsborne almost, or Metroidvania style and all that stuff. I knew it was going to capture the attention of a lot of people. What I didn't know was how well it was going to play. I didn't know how well the art style and everything was going to draw me in, man. So, of course, we're going to be talking more Grime. I don't want to go on and on and on. Like, hopefully you all have tried it. If you haven't tried it, just try it out, man. It's one of those games that you wait for, and then it meets or exceeds every expectation. So that's that. Then I tried Valkyria Chronicles 4 because I had already played one of the Valkyria games on PlayStation or whatever, right? Yep. But I never completed one. So I jumped on. I was like, okay, the art style looks it's not all colorful and everything like I'm used to. I like the colors popping and stuff like that. HDR, boom, boom. Art style I thought was kind of bland, but I jumped on it. And I got a sniper in my hand. I got the sniper rifle out, man. You can switch to different characters and all that stuff. They have tanks on the game, man. Yeah. Valkyria Chronicles 4.
Yeah.
Amazing game, and it's well received on Metacritic as well. All right, so then I went over and I tried. It came from space and ate our brains, man. Now, see, MM2K is laughing, right? He's laughing for two reasons, right? He thinks it's funny for one. The other part is because he hasn't tried it yet. I guarantee you, I haven't talked to him before the
You
show.
don't know that. He's right.
I
You don't know that.
guarantee you, my brother has not tried it because of the art style and all that stuff. He's more grimy. He's grimy,
yes.
so I don't think he's tried it. Came from space and ate my brains, but I sure did, and I loved it, and I streamed it all. You all can check it out on my channel. It's a brilliant game. It's just a game that I would not have played, you all, if it wasn't for Stadia Pro, and that's just keeping it all the way real. But I know I'm not the only one that feels that way. I bet you Clyde feels like that. I bet you all in the chat feel like that too. You wouldn't have tried the game if it wasn't for Stadia Pro. Now, maybe a handful of you bought the game before that, and I'm proud of all of you. But those are the three that I've tried. I haven't really touched the other ones, you know. But there's been so much going on. Free weekends and all kinds of crazy stuff, man. Then I'm hearing Far Cry 5. Oh, man, this is what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Big Stadia summer, hot Stadia summer, whatever you want to say, man. This is just the beginning, y'all. What about the fall? I didn't tell y'all about the fall yet, but let me sit back in my chair.
Don't do that.
I'm sitting back in my chair, and I'm just going to let Clive and MM2K steal the show. Go ahead, fellas.
Clive, what have you played from the Stadia Pro games? And you can add any other games to that as well.
Yeah. So Grime, of course, played Grime. Yeah. What a wonderful kind of art style and aesthetic the whole thing has. Really, really cool. Loving it. So played that. Just weird. It's just weird. But great. I also played It Came From Outer Space and Ate Our Brains.
Mm-hmm.
It's a nice little sort of popcorn, brainless kind of twin stick shooter, isn't it? It's a lot of fun. Just if you're bored and just fancy a bit of kind of pow, pow, pow. Yeah. It does the job. It's a great little game to dip into. I haven't tried Valkyria Chronicles 4 yet.
Mm-hmm.
Or Epistory or Killer Queen Black. I already had that. I had a copy of that, but I've not tried it yet. But as you know, it's that problem as each. It's a nice problem as each month goes by. And what we got 95 pro. I've got 95 pro games.
Yes.
In my library. You know, I was looking back. I haven't touched MotoGP and some other stuff from the past. I've just, as Project Storm says, you know, and then you throw in the free weekends. So obviously I was playing the Olympics, played it with my daughter co-op, played it with a GF co-op, a lot of fun. And then, and I tried out Marvel's Avengers, really getting into the story there as well. So yeah, just lots to be doing. And then of course, Lord Kenzal's been playing Red Dead Redemption 2, going through the story. He's getting a bit depressed about it, a bit upset because he's got a personal attachment now. It feels to Arthur Morgan and stuff. He's gone in full.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, a lot of people who haven't tried it yet, if you live under a rock, may not know what that reference means. But yeah. Definitely. Did we lose Clive?
No, I'm still here. That was
you still? Oh, okay.
I'm done. I'm done.
You know what they were saying, Clive? Though they were saying that your mic is a little low. So I don't know. I tried boosting you up on I'm
going to boost myself up.
All right. Well, I was hoping Clive had more because I asked them to name all the games, and I haven't played anything. No, I'm lying. You guys know I've been playing Grime, of course, and I've been promoting it like I work at. Now help me pronounce this. I know Storm is going to help me. Both you and Clive help me pronounce this. Is it Acapora Games? Or Acupara?
I saw Acupara.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what,
That's what I saw.
However you pronounce it, they're a lively bunch. They're down to earth, and they are excited at all of the acclaim and the recognition the game is getting. We're going to get into that later. However, it's a fantastic game in my eyes. I love Metroidvania style games. Metroid is one of my top 5 games of all time. So I love that feel. Very creepy, and like Storm said, very grimy. It's an appropriate name there. So definitely, if you have access to that game via Stadia Pro or whatever the case may be, get it. If you were a lucky winner of our giveaway, because we gave away either 2 gift cards or the cash equivalent, so you can go buy the game if you don't have Stadia Pro. Shout out to Lord Vivek and to the homie Dustin Oran, the postmaster, as winners for our 2 giveaways. I say go get it. It's $25.99, and that's USD and euros. So I think it's more than worth it. I was surprised it came. I mean, it's a good deal. I was surprised it came in that low. That's how quality it is to me. I haven't played any other pro games. I'm sorry. It's been Grime, and of course Madden, and a lot of Control.
Man, Madden's not a pro game.
And Madden's not a pro game. Neither is Control. But Control has taken control of my life. I'm about to say, because I love Division 2. Y'all know Division 2 is my favorite game. Like Madden is like my vice right now. But Division 2 is my favorite game, Clive and Storm. It was. Slowly but surely, Control has become my favorite game. I think it's a 10. And not just the Stadia Pro, but what do you real quick? I know I don't have this on the docket. Yeah, I don't have it on the docket. Let's talk about it real quick. I think Control is a 10.
Wait. Control?
Yeah, Control.
You think it's a 10?
It's a 10. I love number one. I love Remedy. I loved Alan Wake. I like Quantum Break. I think Quantum Break didn't get a fear break, fear shake. But no, this is different. I love unique action games and the presentation style. I don't know if you guys seen the show, but there's a show called Legion. It's based off a comic book character from Marvel, and it used to come on FX. And the presentation style from Legion had that 70s weird, creepy vibe to it. And so does this. So this had it seems like Legion had a lot of influence on Control. But besides that, the game mechanics are great. The storytelling is creepy and fun and flinchy at the same time. It's a great game. All around, 10. I think it's a 10.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
I'm tempted to buy it anyway. And I was.
You haven't. Oh my God, Clive! You gotta buy it.
Oh my gosh.
Between that and getting the Marvel on the sale,
Yeah. I'd get Control first. I mean, that's just me. That's not me trying to force you, but you got to get Control first.
You sure you want to talk about Control right now? I mean, are you sure you want to do that? Please don't allow me.
Yeah, go ahead, because you still got a chip on your shoulders or what I said last show. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah, don't try to butter everybody. Don't try and piss down everybody's back and tell them it's raining. And we don't do that. We don't do that now. You wasn't liking. You had an issue with the lighting and all that stuff, and I said okay. And I called you out. You out. Yes, I did. Yes, I sure did on Revolutionary Storm podcast. And I forgot where else, but I called you out. That's the point.
You called me out on the show. You called me out on last week's show. You didn't appreciate that. You took over the damn show. But
I remember dropping my $40 US on the game as soon as I heard it was live. Thanks to you, by the way. So I do have to give you a little bit of slack.
Thank you. Give me my roses now.
All right, no problem, bro. No problem. You know how we do, man. We're brothers from a Martian mother. You know what I'm saying? Because we're not from here, y'all. You're going to understand that in a minute. I'm going to tell you who else is going to understand something to hate in the chat, but we're going to get to him a little later.
Man.
You know what I'm saying?
I see.
Yeah, you thought I was going to let you slide, didn't you? You thought you was just going to sneak up in here, man. Don't you know this is the land of electric air? Well, we're going to electrocute that ass, man. But hold on. Here's the deal, man. MM2K, the Control is such a good game, bro, that I don't even know. I just did a live stream. I didn't compare it to the PC version, but I did do a highlight. I do these highlight videos where I put different games from different platforms out there to showcase both games. I don't know how many people are doing that. Some people just go head-to-head comparisons. Let's do that right there. But I just want to highlight both games. That way I don't have to worry about, the PC player saying, yo, Storm, you must not know what ray tracing is and stuff like that. I do know what ray tracing is, right? But Control is still a brilliant game. And what gives Control 10 points for me, now I had to give it 11 because MM2K gave it a 10.
You got me.
So it's an 11.5 for me because of the fact that it's running in the cloud. I put it against my $2,000 plus PC build because I've thrown some more RAM and some different parts in and everything, right? So it's over 2,000 now. And I said, damn, as I'm doing the stream, I mean, I had 4K on, y'all, Clive, M2K. I had 4K on, 4K resolution on. I have ray tracing off, and I was playing it at low settings on PC, and it looked beautiful, even at low settings. But the Stadia version looked good too. So then, partway through the stream, I turned up the graphics on PC and I enabled ray tracing. I know ray tracing kind of rubs people the wrong way for some reason, but imagine standing in front of your mirror in the bathroom and you can see your reflection. You know what I'm saying? That's how I feel without ray tracing, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes, not every time. Ray tracing is important, but it's not a deal breaker for Stadia, for the control version on Stadia. We know that, right? The game is Control. It's the ultimate edition, man. It is dope that it's being streamed from the cloud, on the cloud, in the cloud, however you want to say it. It don't matter. We're talking the same thing, right? But the fact that I was streaming that game and I never once got a hiccup, I never got a blip, I never got a frame rate drop that I saw. I never got anything, man. And I'm putting that against my native PC. And then I'm looking at the fact that the game was still beautiful, y'all. If you don't believe me, this is why I do those 4K videos. I do them for a reason. You know, and I don't have to be all super like, I love Stadia, and it's just, I'm going to put it on my tombstone, Stadia. I'm not going to be that guy, but I do love me some Stadia. You know what I'm saying? And that's cool, right? But this game works so well on Stadia, and I wasn't expecting that. I thought it was going to be a good port, right? But MM2K, now you begin to see why I gave it the KOP title. So I know some people in the chat was like, Storm, you're tripping, man. You got some of them right. You got Judgment right, Storm. You got Madden right. You got Destiny 2, Division 2, all those right. But see, I know y'all wasn't expecting Control because you heard so many people say, nah, it's ugly. Well, it doesn't look good. What is this, man? It's not no ray tracing. You probably heard that kind of stuff and you probably gave up on it and you didn't drop your hard-earned $40. But man, all I'm saying is, you heard MM2K, he said it. Clive didn't get it yet, probably because you scared my bro Clive off. So I have a problem with anybody that was out there scaring people. I have a problem with you right now, and there's the only way to fix it. Cop that Control. Play it. Refund it if you don't like it, but play it. That's how good it is, man.
They're not going to refund
it. That's how good it is.
I ain't going to get it for any other. I ain't going to get it for any platform, so it doesn't matter what as long as it looks good. Yeah. Does it look marginally better on a £3,000 gaming PC? Yeah. But I'm not going to buy it for get my.
Yeah, exactly. PC. Yeah, you don't want it. It's trash.
Marginally better on an Xbox Series S, maybe, but I'm not going to buy it on the Xbox Series S. I'm not interested in it.
I hear that.
As long as it looks good on the platform that I choose to play, that's fine.
Yes,
whether
sir.
It's marginally shinier.
Yeah,
it's irrelevant. It's interesting to know, just to benchmark where particular games are. Yes, but for the average gamer, wow, you're playing an amazing AAA game without having to spend money on a 500 quid box or a £3,000 gaming PC.
Yes, sir.
And it looks pretty good. That'll do for me. That'll do for me.
Oh man.
Now let me defend myself here because I feel like I'm looking at the chat and I feel like I've been unfairly tagged here. My comments last week were towards the gameplay in bright lights. When you're in bright lights, it does look like that the player character is a little washed. So that's the only reason why I said I couldn't call it the king of ports. That's a specific different litmus from how the game is all together. This game could be on the Hachitachi 2000. It's still a hell of a game. It's still a hell of a game. It deserves a 10. And the Stadia version of it, even though it may not have all of the bells and whistles as far as fidelity as people pointed out, it has more than enough. And it's kind of like, it reminds me of the PlayStation 4, to Clive's point, where the PlayStation 4 Pro, you had the big tech heads, like myself and Storm, that said, oh, PlayStation 4 Potato, it's a potato because it doesn't look as good as the Xbox One. The PlayStation 4 Pro slaughtered the Xbox One in sales or the Xbox One X in sales because it just had the more popular games on there and it was good enough. It was good enough. So I think Control is better than just good enough as far as the way it looks. King of ports for every single game, I don't know, but definitely
I just said 2021.
2021, yeah. But just the game altogether, guys. This is a hell of a game, and it's a game that's innovative. It's fun to play, and then you get to play it on any screen with that great fidelity via Stadia. You don't get that anywhere else. I'm sorry. Period.
Look, let me clarify something. All these games run amazing, right? We know that there's some phenomenal ports that's not getting any love that people are not talking about, that y'all swept under the rug, like the Steam games, Steam Heist games, and all them, Steam World, and all that stuff, right? There's so many of them that deserve the title King of Ports. But the reason we do King of Ports really is the reason I do it is because I really want to highlight this game and not let it get swept under the rug. I got to give it its flowers. Got to give it its flowers, man. Like when a game comes out like that and it's running like it does on PC, where at 4K, depending on your rig, you might experience in lag spikes, latency, different things like that, especially when you go to the ray tracing territory and all that. For that game to be streamed, does anybody, do you understand the magnitude here, y'all? I think we're getting spoiled, man. I'm really disappointed too, because see, we're getting so spoiled that we forget that we're streaming these games, man. How the hell am I streaming Control, a game that's really weighty and heavy with physics and all that stuff, and I'm not missing a beat in the performance category when it comes to Stadia, y'all? I'm not missing a beat in the performance category at all. Like, how is that possible? I had my native PC. I'm gonna say it one more time. I might have to say it backwards, man. I had my native PC with a RTX 3080 in it, and I had to go to the maximum settings to see the major differences that stem between the two. And those differences wasn't that big, by the way. Like all it did was clean up a lot of the judder and aliasing and things like that in the background, really, and add ray tracing, which is very beautiful, by the way. I had to say that, y'all. But really, it still had screen space reflections that looked pretty damn impressive when ray tracing was off on PC. You know what I mean? It still had the same one-to-one movement and all that stuff, man. I was able to do everything. Headshots with no aim assist, you guys. Then I realized that I had aim assist on the PC late in the stream. And then lastly, I forgot about aim. I thought my chat wasn't working. I went back and realized today that my chat somehow appeared. So I couldn't see what you guys were saying that stopped by. I apologize for that. It might happen again. Hopefully it won't, though, because I couldn't see the chat at all when I was live. So I apologize for that. But MM2K Clive, let's go ahead and do what we do.
Clive, any closing thoughts on Control?
Yeah, I'm just saying that people always forget. I mean, let's just say the comparisons are useful, interesting, but that's where it stops. Because people tend to forget the majority of people coming to Stadia, your casual gamer coming to Stadia, that being the main demographic, are coming off the back of PS4 and Xbox.
Yes.
And are, going, I don't want to spend 500 quid, or I can't afford to spend 500 quid on the latest, generation of console. So the question then is, how do the games play and look? Because that's your experience, your perspective, your objectivity is guided by your previous experience on PlayStation 4 or Xbox One. I would say for the lion's share of people, casual gamers to Stadia, well, it looks better, it plays better than that.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally agree.
What more can you want? Yeah. And we'll come to it later in the show, but it's only improving.
Yeah. I mean, Phil Harrison, we've all talked about the older articles, and I think it's very important. I'm glad we're all covering them now. It's very important to go back and look at those articles now, because now all this stuff makes sense. Now all the hieroglyphics and stuff makes sense, right? So go back and check out those older articles. They told you who their target demo is. I have conversations with people on Twitter, and they'll be like, oh, well, this entity is putting out 50 games every 3 minutes. It's not their target demo isn't people that just want to go through a random buffet of games and just, I got to play this on the cloud. I got to play that. Oh, that's not their target demo. It's tech enthusiasts like Storm, myself, and Clive that want to make those comparisons, as Clive alluded to, and Storm, how he broke down the comparisons. And it's those that Clive just talked down and felt like they're disenfranchised from gaming at some level. They had a PlayStation 4, they had an Xbox One, and they don't want to get the next console because it's either too damn expensive or it's like pulling teeth from a turtle to try to find. They're not these people that sit there and say, oh, I can do this on the cloud. I'm going to play every single game. Here it goes. Give it to me. They're not those people. So Stadia has a target demo at the beginning years. They're hitting, that target demo. They're giving them what they want. Is everything perfect? know, and we're about to roll in and talk about how some things may not be perfect. But again, it's a different type of target demo here. So if you're looking for a country inn buffet style of thing and you're walking into Red Lobster, is that Red Lobster's fault or is that your fault for walking into the wrong store? You got to be in the right lane. So we just got to make sure that we're putting everything in proper perspective. With that said, let's get on with today's topics. You know how we do. Let me show you something. Here's what I'm gonna do, Clive, in Storm, so y'all can. I'm gonna share my screen with you guys. Duh, I'm a horrible host. I should have been done that. All right, go live. All right, now I'm sharing that with you guys on Discord, so you can see what the people in the chat and the people that are watching are seeing. All right, this is a tweet that I sent, and I was utmost sincere in my confusion when I sent this tweet. I know normally I send out tweets and they're sarcastic in nature just because I'm a jackass. But I wasn't being a jackass today, I promise you guys. I was confused because there were rumors that 2K had yanked its support from Stadia altogether, and it was spoken of in a matter-of-fact type of way. I was seeing some buzz on Twitter. I was like, what's going on? And I get it. Gamers are unclear of the state of 2K's relationship because, as Clive pointed out, and we've talked about here, and Storm and Stadia Rev have talked about as well, there's a lot of games that 2K is either releasing on other platforms that normally would be announced on Stadia by now, or games that they've already announced coming to Stadia that are nowhere in sight. But then there was a recent 2K investor call, y'all, that caused more quote-unquote civil unrest. And it was based upon, I think I have the slide here. Do I have it? Yeah, it was based upon this one slide where they were talking about subscriptions, and they said implementing new business models, subscriptions, Game Pass, PlayStation Now, and Apple Arcade, and there was no mention of Stadia in this particular slide. But if you go to the very next slide, they talk about participating, not participated, or we tried it and didn't work, we don't like it, we're going home. Participating in new distribution channels. And they talk about streaming and cloud gaming, where that is the appropriate litmus for Stadia or appropriate catalog for Stadia. And Stadia is indeed there.
It's a different category. That's the main thing there. Yeah, it's
exactly.
Completely different. Stadia's not. It's not filed under the subscription services.
Yeah, it's not a subscription. Absolutely.
What
and so, Clive, I'm gonna let you start on that because you and I did a one-on-one. I mean, you did it before I tried to ride off your coattails, but me and you did a one-on-one where you went over in detail because this is part of your pedigree. You went over in detail the investor call with Strauss Zelnick, and you broke down what was being said opposed to some of the stuff that was being reported in some of the puke punditry world, right? And then me and you did a one-on-one and we sat down.
Yep.
Did Strauss Zelnick not make it very clear last year in full detail that he makes a clear distinction between subscription services and cloud services? I think he said, he told the person that asked him a question, don't conflate the two. So what are your thoughts on all this, Clive? Go ahead. We'll start off with you first.
So at least he's consistent, put it that way. Actually, so this was the investor call from last year.
Yes.
And again, there was sort of, that confusion there. And then I went to the actual interview. It was actually an interview with an investor. And I went through it word by word to see what was actually said. And at that time, I pointed out that actually what he's saying is, one, they're curious about where cloud gaming might be going, but they don't see it as this sort of panacea of instant billion-dollar business overnight. That was very clear. He didn't, he didn't see He thought a lot of people were overhyping it.
Yeah.
From his point of view.
Yep.
Fair enough. Mm-hmm. And then the second point that he made was they're not convinced that all-you-can-eat subscription models are much use to them. Mm-hmm. Bear in mind, you look at the titles that they have. They sell and sell and sell and sell. Grand Theft Auto 5 is still selling gangbusters. Mm-hmm. Red Dead Redemption 2 still sells. They can keep that price high. Very rare does it go on sale. And that's the power of their IPs.
Yep.
So from their business point of view, they just don't see the sustainability. They question the sustainability of all-you-can-eat subscription services and stuff like that. They saw some slight benefit from back catalog titles, maybe, revitalizing a revenue stream there. But he was very clear about that way back. But this was like, I don't know, September last year, probably the same time.
Around the same time, I think.
Same time last year, yeah. So, cut to now. So one of the things is that, yes, they would partake in cloud gaming business where it made business sense to them. So that was last year. And obviously, Borderlands, Red Dead Redemption 2, NBA 2K, PGA, NBA, the golf stuff, all of that. So there are plenty of examples where their actions backed up the words that he actually said. That made perfect sense. Cut to a year later, and here we are. And so I touched on it because on the Stadia Monday night chat. 10 p.m. UK time. Thank you very much. I touched on it in there because it came late. In fairness, I should have researched a little bit more, but it came very late. I'd already written the bloody script. So I had to squeeze it in at the end. And all I did is go to the investor's statement. And I didn't see the presentation at that time. And in the investor's statement, there was a list of forthcoming games. And Stadia was conspicuous by its absence.
Exactly.
And there's no way of sugarcoating that. And I felt that, it was worth raising it. Plenty of people accuse me of just being bright and sunshiny, and the sun is coming up tomorrow all the time.
You'll melt if you criticize anything.
Exactly. But I thought the reality is that they are not listed. But in fairness, it is things that have been announced to date. Clarify the context, but the lack of Stadia in the listing is conspicuous, and we do have questions over. Okay, where is in NMB, NBA 22? Where's that? Where's the Mafia games? And some other sort of sequels that we would have expected to at least be announced for Stadia. So from that point of view, it's slightly concerning. After the show, though, I discovered the actual presentation, the slide show, and sure enough, under the I was worried at that time, concerned.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not it's the end of Stadia or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that. Because
SGD
because
was
it's
the truth.
It's just one publisher.
Yeah.
One mega publisher. There's another mega publisher just down the road that's falling over itself to get its titles on Stadia. So you cannot make a general statement about the state of Stadia based on the actions of one publisher. Yeah, they all have their reasonings and their business approaches, and clearly, Take-Two are being cautious about cloud gaming. They said as much last year. Anyway, what was refreshing in the presentation, in the slide presentation, is that they talk about participate. This is in the section about their strategy going forward for growth, their strategy for growth, and there are a number of pillars they talk about. Yes. And one of the pillars, one of these slides that represents their pillars of a strategy for growth, is participating in new distribution channels. And there it has streaming, stroke, cloud gaming. And there it says Stadia, PlayStation Now, Game Pass Ultimate. Mm-hmm. So they haven't, the presentation is not devoid of Stadia references. Now, it could be argued, we still need, and as I said it on Monday, we do need to see the games. Now, we need to see new titles from them coming. That would help, I think, generally, would be good. And it could be argued that, what they doing by mentioning Stadia in this new distribution channels is really saying they have titles on there. And it continues to provide a continual revenue stream for them. Red Dead Redemption 2 still does the business for them. Borderlands 3 still does they sell the DLC on it and stuff like that. It still does the business for them. So arguably you could say, well, maybe that's what they're referring to, but we don't know. And what would help if we see NBA 22 suddenly announced or Mafia suddenly pops up, you might go, good. All is good in the world, and be slightly more calmed. So it is slightly worrying their take. It's just their take, given the way that they look at the business, and I kind of get it from Strauss Zelnick's point of view. They are sort of very revenue aggressive, and probably on that basis are slightly try to minimize risk, or don't take the risks, try to make sure bets. And I think for them, it's probably too early in Stadia's growth to go all in. Yeah. So they will make, for them, they will make little bets. Where, as I've said, contrast that with Ubisoft, who, having worked with Google and Stadia closely to on Project Stream, have seen the light from their point of view, and see getting in there early in cloud gaming, as we've seen with Luna as well, they see it much more optimistically than say a Take-Two, and Ubisoft are the polar opposite within that sort of business strategy and are all in. And I think most of the other publishers, and I mentioned this on the Monday night, are on the spectrum between those two generally.
Yep. So, and shout out to Dominic. Shout out to my good friend Dominic in the chat. He brought up something great, and I want to flip it to Storm and get his thoughts on this. Okay, so we got the state of where we're at right now. And Clive emphasized this. I think he capsulized this great during his show. Storm, I know you've talked about it with Rev. I know you have your own take on it. But I want to throw this at you first before you give your full take. I want to ask you first and then you give your full take. Because Storm says in the chat, there is always the possibility Stadia are still negotiating contracts. They said that Resident Evil 8 was very late. So who knows? So Storm, with all the backlash that they got from NBA 2K, right?
Yep.
And some of how the games performed and all that other stuff, them, rushing or slapping resources on at the last minute, like PJ 2K21 plays great to me, but a lot of the UI elements in selecting tournaments and games and stuff like that, you just couldn't do. So maybe because Strauss is like, you know what, we're going to renew these contracts. Maybe we're not going to promise day and date, but we're going to promise you a more quality product. We know there's a job description out there. Again, we don't know. We're just speculating here. But do you think with them having Stadia listed as their support, that's a good thing for Stadia, because Stadia also gives them the business model that they prefer, which is a la carte purchases opposed to investing in the streaming model? Do you think that gives Stadia a leg up and still getting support, but maybe it's just not coming day to day? Or just in general, what are your thoughts on all this?
Tell you right now, if they didn't have a good relationship with Stadia, you wouldn't see Stadia listed. That's for damn sure. That's one thing. And see, Dom has always been at the front of the classroom, man. Like, Dom, that dude Dom is a good learner, man. Like, he just thinks like me. And I sat at the front of the classroom, except when I was late to class. You know what I'm saying? Then I went to the back. But check this out, y'all.
Shiny
Yeah,
apple for
Shiny
Dave.
apple.
absolutely, man. So look, this is what I'm thinking, and there's a few things I want to highlight, right? So when it comes to 2K, 21 was a mess.
Yeah.
Yes, it was.
Woo.
Yes, it was, man. For a lot of people, they were disappointed. There were no updates and things like that. They let it be known. I kind of feared at one point that 2K was listening to all that and said, you know what?
Yeah. Yep.
You want to be crying, huh? You want to. Yeah, we need to provide you a quality product, but at the same time, man, y'all got to understand that we're trying to make this thing happen on Stadia. See, there were so many things that could have been going on, and we won't know the clarity of it unless they come out and say it, which I doubt. But that was one part of it. So I was like real cautious. I supported the people who felt the way they did about the game. I got the game for the very low price of $9, $10, whatever it was when it went down to the lowest price it's ever been. I jumped on it and still didn't play the game. Right, I just added it to my library. So that was that. There was that part. Then there was the other part that like Rev and I talked about that you never know. Like Resident Evil, Don brought it up. Resident Evil, man, we've seen it before. Resident Evil, and so many other games that we've talked about that just Control was another one, right? People want Ark Survival to come and all that good stuff, and it will when it's time. When it's time for Ark to come, it'll get here. In the meantime, there's a lot of games we play. So you have to look at that whole component as well. That there could be negotiations going on. You just brought up another key point, MM2K. Well, maybe we won't promise day and date because we want to make the product better this time. We don't want to have to deal with the embarrassment of having Stadians coming our neck. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Or a nick, as my nephew would say. Our nick. He says everything with an I instead of an E, right? It's come out my nick. So if you think about all that, man, and the fact that you're seeing this right now, it says a lot. But here's the fourth part. And I want to pass it to Clive, right? Or get into the other part or whatever I need to do, MM2K. Here's the deal. The other part of this is, remember those endpoints that I keep talking about every show now? You're going to hear me talking endpoints until somebody tells me, shut the hell up about these endpoints, Storm.
Yep.
Because I think that somebody somewhere is still underestimating the fact that 2K and Take-Two and EA and Ubisoft is already on board. Shout out to Ubisoft. That was my boys right there and my girl.
Yep.
Ubisoft doing big things, recognizing that Stadia was going to be what it is right now. So they got on board early. They were smart as hell.
Yep.
You got to give them a round of applause, man. Ubisoft, man. Yo. Hey, I told people more than a year ago that people were going to see what Ubisoft is doing. They're going to jump on board and say, damn, if Ubisoft is doing this, we can't let them get all this money. We can't let their games being played everywhere in the world right now where Stadia is available. We want a piece of that too. This is what companies do to stay in business, to stay afloat and all that, to thrive. So it's simple, man. It all comes down to the fact that I believe 2K is coming to the platform, man. 2K22, I believe it's coming. Whether that's October, whether that's December, whether that's January, I don't know. But I have a strong feeling that 2K is coming to this platform. I've said it. I didn't second guess myself. I think that it just makes perfect sense. You already have 20 and 21. If you didn't have a good relationship with Stadia or whatever the contract was, whatever, if there's a contract, and see, I don't want to get into that whole contractual stuff because that's a different beast, man. We don't know what these companies doing. I believe that they're seeing more and more users sign up for Stadia. So now they're saying my game can be played by some of these people who played 2K21 and more. So let's go ahead and keep it on the platform. Let's keep this relationship because the best place to play in the cloud is on Stadia right now. Yeah. We all know that. So I don't know. I see a lot of things making sense when it comes from that angle. I don't plan to purchase 2K22, but I do want it for people like Romello, Thomas, and others that really need 2K, man. And they can't go out and buy a console right now. So I do empathize with those people, man, and I feel bad for them because Stadia is allowing gamers all over the damn world to be able to play a game like 2K day and date because they don't have to worry about the price of the console, man, or the PC. So I just want to say all that when it comes to 2K and what they're doing.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on that, Cloud? I mean, again, this is all speculation. We don't know.
Definitely speculation.
If we're getting a plane ticket to Speculation City, then
let's do it.
Here's the thing, yeah. So as I said, it strikes me just from reading what Strauss-Zelnick says and the way that Take-Two sort of manage their business, is that they have aggressive profit targets.
Yeah.
And so what that means is you want your bets to pay off.
Mm-hmm.
So unless it pays off a certain revenue level, you're not getting out of bed.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're not there to make a few pennies. It's not worth
Mm-hmm.
your time. Can't be bothered. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think if that's their approach, then in a way, what Google should be doing or Stadia should be doing is saying, okay, what's the title that's going to do gangbusters for you? Okay. In the way we say with Capcom, like, there's lots of other titles. But the big title that was going to do gangbusters was going to be your Resident Evil.
Yeah.
8. And by all accounts, it did that. With EA, they selected the big
big
title.
Yeah.
Yeah, the big game. So that, so GTA 5 is, of course, being remastered. And if I was Stadia, and to a certain degree Take-Two, it would probably be worth my while just investing in that.
Oh, yeah.
On its own.
Yeah.
If that was the only Take-Two title.
That's a great point.
Came.
I like
benefit,
that, Clive. Yeah.
The benefit that would give to Take-Two.
Yes.
Because as you say, it's an a la carte shop. Stadia is another revenue source to sell the product. Why are they remastering it? Because they see a massive opportunity. People who already had it on PlayStation 4 will buy it again for their PlayStation 5, will buy it again for their Xbox Series X and S. Yeah. So they see the potential of people rebuying this game. So another store opportunity, a new revenue source opens up for them. Why not make that investment and say, okay, while we're doing these ports and updating these graphics and stuff, yeah, if you can give us a team or, whatever, then we'll do a port for Stadia.
Yeah.
Now, imagine that. And then from Stadia's point of view, imagine the credibility. Imagine the mic drop that would be if that happened. It would be like, oh, we don't care about Mafia now. We don't care about
exactly. Yeah.
NBA 2K22. We don't care any of that. It's got Stadia's got GTA 5. Now, I didn't mention this because there was a rumor last year from a French blogger, I believe, who often tweets rumors about GTA 5, and in that he was saying that there are plans for it to come to Stadia. Now, we are, as I say, taking a trip, Speculation City. But, if we're going to speculate, just put that out there. Imagine the impact. So rather than try to get everything that they do, just concentrate on that big hitter. That may be a better investment of your time and money.
I put a poll out there. I really like that idea, Clive, because it's coming from a very business theory minded point of view. So the poll that I put up there, y'all, let us know. Would you be happy if just GTA 5 came to Stadia from 2K this year? I know there's a lot of people that love NBA 2K and want to see it on here, 2K22. They're looking for PGA 2K22. But again, think about it this way. I couldn't put this all in the chat. Think about this. I only get so many characters. Think about it this way. Strauss-Zelnick is very, very clear, as Clive just alluded to, on his lukewarmness about any other business models besides the traditional console and PC business model. So if they're in the middle of contract negotiations now, and the only thing that they're going to commit to is the stuff that's already on the platform, and they're not sure if it's worth their pennies, do you think that Stadia's best foot forward is just to say, hey, look, why don't we do something like this? Put your most popular game that you got out there already. You already made, Grand Theft Auto, what they say, it sold 150 million copies or something like that? Like, just put it over here. And if that does well,
350 million or something like that, isn't it?
yeah, a crazy amount. Just put that game on here, and we'll talk about the rest later. Let's show you that can be lucrative, a little bit more lucrative as they may have not been to your liking before. Do you guys like that strategy, or are you like no, it's unacceptable. Don't don't settle for less. Everything has to be out here.
Let me chime in, man. Let's add this to the notes. We're adding this to the notes right now. Clive, this damn Clive,
it's 150.
man.
100.
Clive always brings out the best in us, man, doesn't he? Always, man. So now I'm thinking, Clive. Now, I definitely agree with what you're saying when it comes to GTA. You're talking about millions more gamers that plays GTA anyway, right? And 2K. So I'm thinking about this now. But I voted no. 17% of us already hit that no button. That's what's up.
Yes.
That's what's up.
Yes.
Hey,
That's what's up. I'm yelling, but I'm not yelling in the mic. I'm not yelling in the mic. No. This is how I yell when I step away from the mic. That's what's up. Get the hell out of here. You see what I'm saying? Because look, here's the deal, y'all. Here's the deal. This is what I'm thinking. Now, that damn Clive is a genius, man. That's my dog. I'm telling you. But you know who's cooler than Clive? Lord Kenzel. Subscribe to his channel right now while you got a chance. Don't have him come looking for you. That's all I'm gonna say now. I already talked to Lord Kenzel. You know what I mean? That brother, when he rolls up and knocks on your door with the bandana on, I'm telling you right now, with the rising sun on it, you don't want no problems with the bro. Now listen, here's the deal. I think 2K could still come as well as GTA 5, and I saw that the remastering is going to happen and all that stuff, and we've been talking about it, Clive. You know, everybody, oh, man, I got excited. GTA 5? Oh, I don't play the online multiplayer. I beat the single-player campaign, but the multiplayer, I just didn't get into it. There was too many games out, PUBG and so many other games, that it just kind of like, I never got into it. I'm not saying it's bad. I know it's amazing. People are making big money on GTA 5 right now. You know, I hope they're not using exploits either, but here's the deal. 2K could still come because all they have to do is say, look, you know, we have this window right here. If we're going to say we're going to work on a GTA 5 or another game or whatever game, then we're going to just do that. But still, we want to put 2K22 out there just like we did 2K20 and 2K21. Now, see, my brain is thinking like this. If Strauss and others had a feeling about Stadia, Stadia wasn't really hot on the numbers when it came to the time that 2K and 2K21 hit the platform, right, y'all? Yeah. So what the hell would it hurt to put 2K22 on the platform, even if it comes late? Even if it comes late and you could talk to Google then and Google could say, let me type up real quick. You know what I mean? Hey, we'll add it right to Pro. We're talking about this Pro model. Hey, y'all forgot about that, didn't you? But that's why you got Project Storm. Yeah, we'll push the game back. We'll push it back, and people will still play it because it's the basketball season. And even if we got to release it mid-season before the All-Star break, by that time, hopefully that new model will be implemented, and then we could get some money off that 2K. I don't know. I'm just thinking now. I'm just thinking business-wise. There's room for both, is all I'm saying. But that's a hell of a poll. We got a hell of a guest, and this is going to be a hell of a show. Let's go.
What are your thoughts on that, Clive? I mean, let's hear it before we move on. I'm interested to hear.
Yeah, I mean, I think I don't think that would generate enough money for them. I think they'd need a big check from State, even if it comes late. I mean, if it comes late, they might do it for sale. I mean, FIFA did. Yeah. Obviously, but that's the weird thing is FIFA was was sort of EA's first sort of title like that, and you know they were late in the development cycle. Whereas you would have thought they would have had a heads up come the third version of the game, as it were, in terms of NBA or whatever it is. So yeah, it is a bit weird, but if it comes late, free weekend and a sale.
Yeah, man.
That's the sort of because they're doing those free weekends, so they're obviously working.
Yeah, man. Now you're talking.
Generating sales.
Yeah, true. That is true. I mean, I think it's very plausible. I'm kind of like in between both places. I like Clive's idea. I think it has something to do with them. I think 2K is experimenting. They've always been lackadaisical when it comes to this front, where they're like, yeah, I mean, we're really not interested. I mean, we see something that catches our eye, we'll invest further. But if it's not, then we might step in, we might step out. But then as well, I mean, I'm thinking, man. I mean, I know Red Dead is killing it on Stadia. You know, as far as Stadia is concerned, you know, not in comparison to PlayStation or anything, but I know as far as killing it on Stadia is concerned, I know Red Dead is killing it on Stadia. However, I would also assume that NBA 2K is doing the same thing. I would assume that. Maybe not PGA 2K so much. And I don't know about Borderlands, but I know those two got to be doing well. And probably Red Dead more than NBA 2K. So I just can't see why at least that one wouldn't come. So my thoughts are, and again, this is all speculative. We all on the speculative train. I'm thinking it has something to do with the QA, the quality. They're like, look, you made us look bad. You know, if they're trying to put it all back on the Stadia community, you made us look bad by calling us out when we didn't update rosters and all that other stuff.
You weren't the only ones. Trust me, we weren't the only ones.
Exactly. So we're gonna have we got some quality control people that we're gonna hire, but it's gonna take us some time to get through this. Stadia already admitted themselves, you know, developing for the platform is a little bit more cumbersome than they hoped. And if you got a situation where 2K is not willing to put any more resources other than these new people that they hired on Stadia, then maybe they just said, you know what, the hell with it. We'll sign back on, but your games are gonna have to wait. You know what I'm saying? Don't just wait. So I'm inclined to believe that it's more of a case like that. However, if we're realistically, and it's great that we're having these conversations, it ain't always got to be positive. Oh, everything's going to come to Stadia tomorrow and all that other stuff. But it's great to have this conversation to say, if you are in a situation like that, Stadia 2K, look, drop that GTA 5 on here, man. I'm with Clive on that one. If that's what's going on behind the scenes, drop that GTA 5 on here. Make them feel comfortable. It's better to get bees with honey. And the honey for 2K is money. So if you drop that GTA 5 on here and then they start to see revenue more so than Red Dead, dare I say it, then that might open up negotiations even further. Okay, we'll bring back NBA 2K. But I think it's a great discussion altogether. Any final thoughts before we move on to the next subject?
Well, I mentioned it before, but the point is, and people have alluded to it in the chat. You know, Stadia doesn't sell Stadia.
Yeah.
The games that are on Stadia sells Stadia.
Stadia, so exactly.
FIFA. So when you get your smart TV and it says, "Oh, you fancy playing FIFA?" and you're like, "What? Hey, I don't. How can I play? What? I can play FIFA on my smart TV.
Yes.
What? I can play Madden on my what? I've heard of FIFA. I've heard of Madden. I've heard of GTA 5.
Yeah. Yep.
That's what sells. Resident Evil. Yeah, I've heard of that. You know, this is what sells Stadia, and the fact that you can play the games. So it's not, you know, and that's what I think Stadia are aware of that. It's not Stadia that sells Stadia. It's the games that are on it.
Right.
So if they just channel their, not everything, because you want a variety of things, but your big tent peg titles here and there, that will help sell cloud gaming, you know, to people. That will help sell, you know, the idea of Stadia. It's the games that's going to shift the units, as we saw with Cyberpunk, as was clearly with Resident, you know, Evil 8 and stuff like that. Those clearly did the business. Red Dead Redemption, arguably, when Stadia first launched.
Yeah, man. Without that one,
strong. It's had about one sale, I think.
Yeah,
maybe 2 sales, and even then, it's still quite expensive.
Yeah.
Which is testament to the fact that it's holding its price.
Yes, and it's still doing well. I mean, I remember that one time there was a little blip, and Eddie Player One remembers this. I wish I would have captured it, but Stadia for one time, for like a week, they had the most popular games on the platform, and I remember 1 was Red Dead Redemption. I think 2 was Borderlands, so you had 2 2K games up there. I think 3 was PUBG, and 4 was Division. They only put 4 games up there. So, and this was at a time where everybody was like, "Oh, Destiny is the most popular game on Stadia, and it only has a couple hundred people on there every year." And that wasn't even the case. Destiny didn't even make that list. So Stadia, the fact that Stadia had Red Dead Redemption 2 at the top of that list, and it kept its $40 price point. Speaks wonders. I think that says a lot. I want to shout out Tommy Rocks 81. Thank you, Tommy, for becoming a prescription member, for supporting the channel. Thank you so much, good brother. I appreciate it. We had a poll. We're going to end the poll right now. We had a poll. The poll was, would you be happy if GTA 5 was the only one that made it to Stadia from the 2K library this year? And the results were, out of 32 votes, 84% said yes. 15% said no. That's surprising. So a lot of people.
Rest my case.
Stadia. Hey, look. Storm and I lost that one because I was leaning towards Storm, even though I like Clive's idea. Storm and I lost that one. Stadia, if you're listening, look, you got Lord Kensel used to chop up those contracts. Listen to the guy. That might be your best way forward in this situation if that is what's going on. So, wow. What do you think about that, Storm? We lost 84 to 15.
I knew you're talking about a juggernaut at like a GTA. When you start talking GTA anything, you know what I'm saying? You're about to take an L. I knew going into this I was about to take an L, man. I knew that, but I said I feel for the 2K players, they really want this game, and I had to ride with them, y'all. I rode with y'all. I hope you feel happy about it. And 2K rode with you all. But Clive just brought up a point that's just damn.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't even really steal that because if you do, you got to give credit to Clive. You got to give credit to Clive, courtesy of SSC Podcast, man. If you try to go out there and say, hey, I'm going to create this poll, MM2K. So you can't even do that now, y'all, but you got it live right here, man. We appreciate it.
Yep. Your thoughts, Clive, before we roll on to the next subject?
No, it's just watch, if we see some games from 2K over the next couple of months, then hey, concern lifted. It's not the end. It's just that as you've touched on, it's a 2% business or whatever at the time. It's tiny business relative to the size of the gaming industry. Of course, certain publishers aren't going to be all in everything straight off and are going to be cautious. It's a new market. Some publishers are going to be more cautious than others because they might be wanting to keep their powder dry in terms of having their own channels and all that kind of stuff. So
exactly.
But it would be nice. You can't sugarcoat it. Of course, it'd be great. Take-Two announce some sort of new games beyond the ones they already have coming to Stadia, and we see that. And if they do, we've got the receipts, baby.
You're right about that.
You know which way to go.
We're looking at you. Not that I'm on camera, but we know we're coming for you. Yeah, we're coming for you.
Absolutely. So, before we move on, I just want to say again, the purpose of this was to talk this out because it's great when the community talks these things out. And like Clive said before, we always get tagged with, everything is peaches and roses with Stadia. No, we get it. This would be disappointing for many. There might be a deal breaker for many. But again, it's like what Jack Buser and Phil Harrison said. You're not going to capture that audience overnight. This is a marathon, not a sprint. And you're going to have different things shift and move around while they're in this early phase here. But we wanted to separate fact from fiction. It is a rumor. That 2K argue or wholeheartedly said that we're backing away from the Stadia platform. We don't know as of yet. We're in a lost realm. We probably wish the communication was better. We hope there's a good reason for it. Maybe there is, maybe there isn't. But until we find out, we don't know. So scrap that if you heard that rumor. But it is alarming to see what we're seeing for many of those 2K fans. And we talked about various scenarios and things that we hope for. One of the things that the chat has second was Clive's notion that, hey, if it comes down to a thing of, hey, look, these other games didn't perform well to our liking and we are looking to back away, look, negotiate something with GTA 5. That might get everyone's juices flowing, right? So, all right. With that said, people, let's get on to our next topic at hand, which is Grime and Stadia Pro games. Let me do this. Let me show you something. So we have this week on Stadia, play Far Cry 5 for free and check out new games on Stadia Pro. And this is the blog where they talk about Grime, the game that we're really going to heavily focus on in this segment. Far Cry 5, which I want to talk about a little bit, might get into another debate there. And talk about these pro games. We already talked about the ones that we've played, but I want to get a sense of which one has you most excited. But before we get into all that, let's talk about Far Cry 5. There's going to be a free weekend with Far Cry 5, y'all. Far Cry 5 Before Control was my favorite game in recent generations. I'm loving Control. I don't know if it dethroned Far Cry 5 yet, but I will say it's my favorite game on Stadia right now, and I'll get into why. But what do you guys, I'll start with you, Storm. What do you guys think about Far Cry 5 having a free weekend on Stadia? How effective do you think that might be, or how good is that?
Far Cry 5, man. Far Cry 5, your favorite game, my brother. Your favorite game that you sunk in the most hours in. I feel sometimes when we're talking about Far Cry 5, man, MM2K, I feel bad for you a little bit because I know you wanted the game to be at 60 FPS and all that, man. And I really know. See, we're not going to turn it into a whole 60 versus 30 right now. But the thing is, man, 60 is so smooth in a game like that. It's kind of like for me, PUBG coming over here and running at 30 FPS. Or Doom Eternal running at 30 FPS. You know, for some, it don't matter. But, man, going back to the game, like for Far Cry 5 to be free, like to be, you know, the game to have a free weekend after Borderlands and all these other games. We're seeing Marvel Avengers and, you know, what was another one I just missed recently, man? Like, I like the free weekend. This is another thing that Rev and I focus heavily on during the show on Sunday, man. It's like the free weekend, the impact of it. It's another game for people who haven't picked up Far Cry 5 to finally be able to get that chance, man. Like Clive said, to be able to turn on their device or whatever, whether it be a TV or whatever the case is, and experience Far Cry 5 for the first time, man. There's still some people out there that's going to be doing that, taking advantage of this free weekend. So I think it has the potential to be major, man. It's another Ubisoft blockbuster. Man, kudos to Ubisoft. Did I say that earlier? Damn. I mean, just lighten it up, man. We got to do a special episode one day just about the partnership between Stadia and Ubisoft. But like, I think it's major. It's a great game. It's been the game. I heard you say yesterday, I think, that it's running better than it had. The game performs well. Let me say this right now. Although it's not a locked 60 FPS, that game feels phenomenal. It feels like a great experience when you play it. The controls and everything are just like really agile and all that stuff. Everything you can target enemies, snipe, all that stuff that you can normally do at 60, you can still do it. But, you know, it's just that, you know, you look out in the distance and you see that 30 FPS and you're like, oh, that just distracted me. Not ruin the experience, because it won't ruin the experience, but it distracts you enough. Like if you're like me and MM2K, that it might have that effect. But big game to be on the free weekend, man. That's how I feel about it. Big game.
What's your thoughts, Clive? What do you think about Far Cry 5?
It's a curious choice, and sort of makes me, you know, wonder why, because it's not a newish title. I mean, Marvel's Avengers still in its 12-month sort of age. It's still got lots of DLC coming for it, especially, you know, soon. So that kind of makes sense. This one was curious, so that makes me think why. So my initial thoughts are, okay, it's just getting people all sort of salivating for Far Cry 6. Which is coming out in October. Well, you know, so was actually coming out initially. I think it was after its first knockback was going to come out in September. I'm not sure, but I didn't get knocked out twice, to September and then to October. I'm not sure. Maybe I'm making that bit up, but because it still seems a bit far out from October to be tested.
Yeah, to do something like this.
Yeah, so that's the other thing. Although, you know, giving people plenty of time to sort of complete it and stuff. Not that you need to, but just to give a flavor and a sense of things. But the other thinking is that there are a lot of free weekends coming up, and this is a regular. It's more than just promotions.
Yes.
This is actually going to be a regular thing. And Stadia have a number of, free weekends, some which are absolutely aligned with promotional activities. So the Olympics, obvious weeks, the Olympics is in full flow. Why not give everyone a go at it, see what fun it is, pick it up for, 20, 30 quid and just enjoy it with your family for a while. That makes a lot of sense. Marvel Avengers, as I say, they've got some big DLC coming up. That makes a lot of sense there. But also, I just think it's fitting the free weekends in. So maybe Far Cry is just one of those titles that they have lined up as one of many that will feature as free weekends on a regular basis. I think, we've had three free weekends within about a 4-week space.
Mm-hmm.
I believe, because we had the Borderlands 3, was it? Yeah.
Yeah, that was free at one time.
Recently. Then that was at the beginning, sort of first week of July. And then we had Marvel Avengers and Olympics, and now we've got this, all within 4 to 5 weeks anyway. Three weekends in 4 to 5 weeks. Pretty impressive. So I think there's a pattern happening here potentially.
Mm-hmm.
And they talked about having demos and stuff like that. It's a lot easier just to throw on a free weekend, talk to a publisher and say, let's have a little boost. Free weekend for Pro. So extra, plus that gives extra value, a little extra added value to Pro members as well. So it's a win-win for Stadia on that point of view. So saying, look, we not only throw in all these Pro titles, we do regular free weekends of some of the bigger titles for people. It incentivizes people to buy if they like the game, or in the case of Ubisoft, potentially subscribe. So I think it could be a sign that this is going to be a regular thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm hopeful that it is a regular thing, and it points to something key to me that I've always been saying when people say, oh, you know what, Stadia is slugging behind, they're really not doing it. Stadia just had a keynote where they said that they're making some of the most integral development changes that we've seen, and that's already while their tech is superbly ahead of everyone else, and they're going to even double down and make the tech even better now. But then if you look at the platform last year, remember how we were all crying? And I was one of them, Clive. Remember the whole, where you had to tell me to take the popsicle out my mouth and stop whining, and I needed to do that. And I know Storm has told me that as well, and Rev has told me that, where I was whining, oh man, where are the free weekends? Oh man, where's the demos? Or oh man, where's the pre-orders? Remember that? Remember that as a big
time trials. We need everything.
Yeah, we need everything. Oh, Xbox is going to kill them tonight. And look, they got it all. Not everything, but they got all that stuff.
Oh man!
And nobody's talking about it. So this is great stuff. This is great stuff from the back end that's happening. I mean, we see it here with GFN. We don't see it yet with Luna, but whatever. But Stadia is making these strides and building its support at its pace, but building its support to its core demographic at the moment, and I think it's great, and it's good to see that. Far Cry 5 to me is an interesting choice though, however, because if we piggyback off of the last segment, Clive, where we talked about most of the experiences that we're talking about of people who are migrating to this platform, or people that have migrated from PlayStation 4s and Xbox Ones, and they've already played Far Cry 5 in 4K 30. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe it's just, maybe it's a reassurance to say, hey, well, maybe it's just because it's going to be free weekend in other platforms too. Maybe it's just say, hey, look, we got it here too. And it plays great here too. Because they did a lot of work. I'm telling you, they've done a lot of work on this port, and it is a hell of a port now. They did a lot of work on it.
Hey, so people are asking Amanor to step it up, man. I think he just did that for the first time in a long time. Amanor might be back with his recent line. You don't have to highlight it or anything. Just check it out, M2K. Just check out what the brother said.
I
Now,
done caught some.
if this was true, that'd be the best dig at Stadia of all time. You would be the GOAT, man. I can't even make the GOAT noise.
I done seen some
Amanor to
stuff
do a
from
GOAT
him.
noise, man.
He said, Amador's trying to come
Amanor,
back.
he is trying to come back, man, because they challenged him in the chat. The chat is always asking him to do better, man. So
Yeah.
he's trying. He's trying.
Shout out to Amador. But okay, so interesting stuff.
It keeps him off the streets.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Keeps the streets
Oh
safe.
man.
Just keep him occupied in chat.
I agree. Far Cry 5 was interesting, but what's even more interesting is the game that I really wanted to focus on, and that is Grime. Grime, my friends, is getting some serious applause. I mean, it's not they're not calling it Last of Us 2 or whatever, but it's getting some serious accolades, and this is a game that you can only play on PC or Stadia right now. So I think that says something. Let's take a look at some things. First and foremost, the Metacritic. Right now, the Metacritic is at an 82, which isn't bad. The user score right now is a 9.8. So, they're both on a positive side. The user score more so than the actual Metacritic. But again, this is good. And again, this is a game that is only playable on Stadia and PC right now. But when you look at some other litmuses as well, shout out to Akapura Games, they point out here on a tweet that after just one day on Steam, Grime is very positive with 203 reviews, number 6 spot on the top sellers list, and it's number 1 on new and trending. So we take a look at this. Look at this. It's number 6 on everything that's selling on Steam. And it's number 1 on the new and trending. So that's excellent. What else do we got here? And it's very positive. Now that's hard on Steam because they're hard there. But it's very positive with 203 votes tallied in right now. If you look at some other stuff, well, we'll get into that later. Let's talk about that first, though. I mean, it's received a lot of acclaim, charting well on Steam. What are your thoughts overall on this game having shared exclusivity with PC on Stadia? What's the potential there, you guys think? I'll start with you, Clive.
Well, it's not just share the exclusivity. It's a pro title.
Yeah.
It's a brand new game.
Great point.
So we got a little Nightmares 2 scenario going on.
Yes.
Here.
Yeah.
A brand new day-on-day launch. Oh, it's a day before, Clive. Yeah, okay. whatever. A day-on-day launch of a much, expected a title that caused a lot of excitement and anticipation. Probably I'd rate A Little Nightmares a AA. It's not quite a AAA, but still, in terms of excitement and expectation, yeah. Pro title, great win, great work there by saying they're not going to hit it out the park every month.
Yeah,
that's that. But occasionally, look, as you would say, M2K, let's give them flowers.
Yes,
let's give them flowers. This is a much anticipated indie game, so probably one of the most anticipated indie games of the last few months. I was watching IGN do a regular top 10 games. Forthcoming in August or whatever it was, and this was up there.
Oh wow!
In their most anticipated games of August. Interestingly enough, I was watching it because I like to do this sort of research. I was trying to see how many games they mentioned that weren't exclusives were also coming to Stadia. Just as a benchmark, and the majority of the games that weren't exclusive to PlayStation or weren't exclusive to Xbox that were mentioned, that were multi or PC only, that were mentioned were multi-platform. The majority, not all of them, but the majority of the games were all coming to Stadia. So I just thought that sort of was a good sign. But as I say, a digress. Grime was one of those titles, and yeah, the general response from the videos and the trailers before it was released was very positive, and the general response of the gameplay is very positive. And already, they've already done a patch for it, and I think they're looking to bring it to 4K as well. Yeah, I think I saw a tweet or a mention from the, not from random Joe in the pub, but from the publisher themselves, the developer themselves, saying I think they're working on the 4K version. So, hey, it already looks amazing.
Absolutely,
it looks sort of beautiful in a kind of creepy, weird way.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
What is that? Who Clive? Who is that band from the 90s? And they had that claymation video. I know you. Golly, not Nine Inch Nails.
Sledgehammer.
Not Sledgehammer.
Gabriel. No.
What? Who is? Oh, it was an alternative band, and they had a clay that looked like it was. It was Grime was inspired by that. I can't think of it. If somebody can think of that, it's not.
There's a sort of darker, grimier, Burton-esque look to it as well. In that kind of sort of surreal, sort of Dali-esque. We want to get all kind of artistic about it. Sort of droopy, extended limbs style that you might see in a Giacometti statue or something like that, or a Salvador Dali type painting with the sort of long limbs, all kind of sort of weirdly sickening but sexual at the same time in a weird
exactly
real way. The opening sequence, there's a sort of eroticism to it in a weird. I was torn. I was both repelled and aroused.
Yeah,
can I say that publicly?
He said
I don't know if that says anything about me, but
man, say what you got to say.
It was. It's just the entanglement of limbs.
Yes,
going on at the beginning.
Yep.
There seemed to be some sort of surreal embrace, and then it gets weird and uncomfortable. But yeah, it's in that kind of surreal manner. So I've said surreal about 100 times, but there we go. If you see it, it is. But it's it looks great, but it also plays great. I mean, it's quite at the heart of it. It's playing on very well-respected and traditional gaming styles. It's a jumping platform, jumping to platform attacking game, but it's the visuals and imagination, and then that kind of Metroid kind of approach to it, Metroidvania type kind of approach, the classic tropes of sort of gaming that the average age gamer, I tweeted out today, was what, 32 to whatever it was.
Oh yeah,
so it relies on that, who have that nostalgia for those sort of platform,
I found it
style games and all that kind of stuff like that. So it's great to see a really well respected and anticipated game, albeit an indie game, but one that came with a lot of expectation, being coming to Stadia day and date as a pro title. Kudos, flowers, the works.
Hey, Storm, before Storm, you give your thoughts. I found the video. It is Tool Sober. And Charles Arand knew what I was talking about, because right when I found it on YouTube, he put it in the chat as well. Great minds thinking alike. Go look up Tool. The band is Tool, and the song is Sober. Check that out. It'll give you that vibe from Grime. But Storm, what are your thoughts on Grime? We might as well bring it up as well too. We discovered early that they did mention it beforehand, but a lot of players weren't aware that the 4K patch wasn't ready at launch. But if you take all that into consideration, the gameplay and all the good and the bad, what are your thoughts on Grime?
Look, as the avid 4K gamer I am, 8K as well, man.
Yeah.
I booted Grime up I was happy to play the game, especially on Stadia. It was another one of those great games or whatever that came to the platform. And there was something special about the game. Now, of course, y'all, I held on, and I want to shout out a couple people in the chat, man. Lord Vivek is one, and Romello Thomas, I was talking about him earlier. He just earned his wings and now is a moderator. You get to hang with boys and girls in blue or purple, whatever color that is. On my OLED, it's kind of purplish. But anyway, Lord Vivek said that, we were talking about this yesterday in the giveaway in the chat, right? Remember? And, he was like, yeah, 4K is coming pretty much. I'm just paraphrasing. I was like, okay, cool. And I knew it. I knew it was going to come because it just didn't make sense that the game didn't have 4K at first. Yeah. But forget 4K for now. There's going to be plenty of discussion about that. The game itself, man, it blew me away. Now I heard so many times, man, it's a Metroidvania, it's Bloodborne-like, it's a Souls-like game, man. It's just gonna be difficult and all this stuff. But that doesn't do the game any justice, man. You don't know how great this game is until you actually touch the controller, bro. Mm-hmm. When you touch that controller, you see for the first time the character. I'm not even gonna spoil anything. I'm not gonna tell anybody how I opened up, but from the very first moments of the game, I knew the game was gonna be special, man. Now, we have been following the announcement of the game and the developer trying to, announcing the game and stuff like that. And just like, Steam before the game even launched, it was at the top of the list, like I said earlier, for most anticipated games or whatever. So then it dropped and I looked at it and I said, yo, this is what I need, man. I need a game like this. It's different. It's not Demon Souls. It's not Dark Souls. It's not anything you've ever really experienced. It's not what you've seen before. Yeah. I don't remember the last time I could absorb enemy hits and stuff like that. Take their abilities, use that kind of stuff like that, man. The different weapons, the unique appeal of the weapons and everything, MM2K. And I know you kept asking, man, how the hell I just picked up these nails, man? What the hell do I do with these nails? And I was the same way, bro. I was picking stuff up, didn't know what the hell it was. And then finally I got my first weapon in my hand. Yeah. And the game went from a 9 on my first initial impressions, man, right? Initial impressions. I gave the game a solid 9. Only reason it wasn't a 10 is because of 4K, bro. Yeah. But when I got that weapon, it went up to a 9.5. 4K is just going to take it over the top. It's icing on the cake. The game runs at 1080p 60, as Roger said in the chat. You could tell that by just moving around, looking up and down with the camera, how you can look up and down and all that stuff to see what's above you and below you. You know when the game's at 60 FPS, man. That game is special for a lot of different reasons. I can't wait to get deeper into it. I'm not even going to lie. I heard it's tough, but when I saw you, MM2K, running through an enemy and all that good stuff and doing what you do and not knowing what the hell you were doing, I had to remind you to heal. And, bro.
And then I died.
And you died several times.
You go back to the beginning.
Yeah. Oh, man. You go back to the. He was like, where the hell am I? I'm back to the. And he kept dying. He didn't learn his lesson the first time or the second or third or eighth time. He kept on dying, you know what I mean? And finally, he decided to hit the R trigger button. So that game, check it out, man. It's on Stadia Pro. You can sign up right now and give it a chance. If you're listening to what we're saying right now and you think it might sound interesting to you, if you're not listening, sign up for Stadia Pro right now. Check that game out. If you don't do anything else today, Grime is one of those games. Yeah, go ahead, Clark.
Sign up to Pro. You're gonna, and there's 25 games you could try as well.
Oh my gosh!
Exactly.
So just right now. So however many it is,
So and I'm looking on Metacritic, and it's funny that you mentioned that, right? Because Stadia games don't necessarily get a whole lot of love. It's like they get forgotten at times when it comes to Metacritic and stuff, like some of these review sites and all that, right? But to see that game out there and to see people, they wrote about the PC version, they reviewed the PC version, but they didn't forget about Stadia. Also on Stadia. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like that right there shows that, to me, that was kind of like a sign that the tides are turning and all that, man. But to see, and I saw the user score, it was a 97. You just said it was a 98, so it went up a unit. I might go on there and put in a review myself because this game is one of the ones that deserves it. Now, when we're talking about a game like The Ascent, that's a game that people are talking about that launched on Xbox and PC and everything, and that's at a 64. And So Metacritic score is not everything, people. Grime is one of those games that I'm gonna give you my score on it when I put more time into it.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely. I mean, I'm gonna put some more time. I mean, but yeah, I can't give a score right now. But I would say it's that game right then and there. Which there's plenty of games out there right now, especially Valkyria. I know I'm butchering that. Chronicles.
Valkyria. I just say Valkyria.
Valkyria, right. Is it Valkyria Chronicles 4? I've played the other Valkyria games, especially the one they had on 360. Oh my God, that's what made me fall in love with the series. You can't, those are great games within themselves. But Grime to me, and this is a lot because it's an indie game, Grime to me is that damn good, where it's good enough for you to justify you signing up for Stadia Pro. And I do want to point out that yes, they did say Akipura Games did say. Let me put this up here. They did say that in response to somebody, because somebody instead of hitting Grime, they hit Grimes.
I saw that. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
And Akipura said, well, Grimes doesn't have 4K support because she is a musician, not a video game. Grime is getting post-launch optimizations and improvements, including 4K support, so it is coming. So that's dope.
Yeah.
But let me ask this question. All right, let me play devil's advocate real quick, and then we'll move on to the last topic. Because again, we gotta prove that we're not sticklers for Stadia. We're not all getting checks in the mail.
Not close.
Let me ask you guys a question. The game is great without 4K and all that good stuff, right? But this is a game where Akipura said, look, I mean, and they've gotten support from Stadia. Don't get me wrong. I know Stadia was giving them a lot of support for this decision to be only on Stadia and PC. However, the game not launching in 4K is just curious to me. Do we see? And I don't really see a lot of Stadia advertisement behind this game. And again, I'm just throwing this out here, being devil's advocate. Do we? This game is this has a lot of potential. And I know because the litmus that I use, guys, is I go to my hater friends and I'll mention something. And when they shut up and they don't say anything, I know it's a good thing. And they're not going to be positive about it. So they're going to shut up. So when I said, oh, check out this game, check out this trailer, I put out a trailer for Grime. And I said, you can only play this on Stadia and PC. It was silence, right? So is Stadia not... I don't want to say they're not behind it. They're definitely behind it. But is Stadia not really taking advantage of what they have potentially here with Grime, with not ensuring, again, hey, not plugging more resources in to help them get to 4K ready at launch? So as people are making a decision, they're like, well, I ain't got to choose pretty over cheap. I can get both with Stadia. And did they not advertise as well? I mean, what are your thoughts? Again, I'm playing devil's advocate. We'll start with Clive, and then we'll cap that off with Storm. What are your thoughts, Clive?
Well, this game wouldn't exist if it wasn't for Stadia.
Right.
That's because this is part of the Stadia Makers program.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So, that, and part of that probably guaranteed that it would be, pro.
Mm-hmm.
They gave him obviously the opportunity to release it, on PC as well,
exactly,
to make money and stuff like that. But part of the Stadia Makers deal was probably, it'll be pro. You'll probably see the same for Def Carnival and things when that comes out and stuff like that. So, and that's the investment. So, Stadia are investing in the indies, at the grassroots level, but also, the payoff for that is they get these kind of games on pro, and then every so often you get an awesome indie game like Grime coming out on pro. The 4K thing on an indie game like this, the nature of this game, it's not really no, to me it's not. I didn't even think about it. And secondly,
be careful.
It looks amazing. Well, look, we know projects of 4K Princess.
Yes.
Yeah. Be careful now. Be careful. I go after you. Be careful.
Just, is storming out the party because they didn't get a Porsche for her 16th birthday project. Why are you going to bought me a damn Tesla, whatever? I wanted a Porsche, mummy. Storms out her own party. So it's so it looks visually very good. And secondly, I think they've said that 4K is coming, so potentially it's coming to Stadia as well, and optimization. And it may have been a decision that they made. Look, it's looking brilliant now. Plays brilliantly, looks fantastic. We want it out. This is the release date. We'd rather you get it looking amazing and looking really good and playing well, and then hanging around anymore. And if you can optimize it 4K a little bit later, sweet, do it.
Yeah.
But it's not like it's, a big story, like a Far Cry 6 type thing, or, where that expectation is, it's got to be 60 frames per second and 4K and all that. It's an indie title, and I think there's always a bit of a leeway with that, and to a certain degree.
What are your thoughts on that, Storm? And what I'm showing right now is there was a request in the chat to see what Death Carnival is, and Death Carnival is like, it's in a very similar vein as Ascent. So, shout out to John Score. He's interviewed people from that game that have worked on that game. So very, very interested in seeing how this game from Furion Games comes out and what it's like. But Storm, what are your thoughts on the whole 4K bit and me playing devil's advocate? What do you think?
All right, let me just rub people the wrong way, man.
Oh snap! I gotta do another poll. Let me do another poll.
I want to
win this time.
I want to say this to Clive,
time.
Man. Hey, Clive, I just want to see. You think I'm gonna let you fire on me, man? I'm not gonna let you fire on me, calling me the 4K princess, man. What I will say, if you were like Lord Kenzel, you wouldn't have gotten killed on pub so many times.
Ooh,
PUBG.
goodness!
See, if you had 4K, Clive, 4K 60, that is, then you would have gotten 10 more chicken dinners than you already had, bro. So don't ever come at me, man. Don't ever come at me about being a 4K princess. 4K is life. You know what I'm saying?
It could be real life.
It's what you need. Ask Jim. Ask Jim. Hey, ask Jim. Ask Jim. He's in the chat. Ask Gamer. You know what I mean? 4K is important. Now, here's the deal. On the real, this is the real deal. This is how I felt, man. When I first booted up the game, Clive, I thought I was playing in 4K at first, bro. It wasn't until I hit Shift Tab on my keyboard that I realized that the game wasn't 4K. I saw Jim, I went over, I said, you know what, let me go see what Jim put on this title and stuff, because me and Jim put 4K 60, you know what I'm saying? Because we stream at 4K 60, and sometimes, we set Stadia to 4K. People need to understand this, right? When I saw that Jim, I think he left out the 4K, I said, oh yeah, it's been confirmed. It's not 4K. But you don't even miss 4K when it comes to Grime, and I know that sounds weird coming from me. You just don't miss it. I came by MM2K stream yesterday, and I was like, yo, this is clean. That was the first thing I said. Like, the game looks so clean as you were playing, man. So you're absolutely right, Clyde, when it comes to that. You don't need 4K, bro. Like, to enjoy a game like Grime, you just don't. But when they add 4K to any game, it could be Epistory, and this is not, it's not a shot on any game. Any game that you add 4K resolution to, even if it came down to reading text, it's a much better experience, because you get text, everything becomes more legible, and it's not that the games absolutely need it, but these games can benefit from 4K. Now, I know I just gave my pitch for why 4K is so awesome, but at the same time, like, if you're a sniper in certain shooter games or whatever, you're looking out into the distance, you really can see what you're looking for a little bit better than if it wasn't 4K. So that's why it's so important, and that's why it's such a big deal. And I want to throw that out there to my brother, my Cowboys brother. I want to throw that out to Jeff G. I see you out there, Jeff G.
The key there is talking about the first-person shooters and the story campaign things.
Yeah.
Is because it's to do with distance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, where the game has depth and those big vistas.
You're absolutely right.
That's where 4K really pays off. So you can see when you're playing PUBG, you can see the detail of somebody quite far away to get that all-important, crucial sniper headshot.
That's true.
You don't think, is that a tree? That hedge? I'm dead. Too late.
Absolutely.
Whereas this is a side scroller, so you don't necessarily need that depth, and it can look amazing as it does. I mean, because
It
because
does.
it lacks sort of that depth of, because it's sort of it doesn't need it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So that's why I think, you can get away with it not being 4K, because it looks great anyway, because you're not requiring to kind of look into the distance.
You're right. Now wait until it's in 4K and you stop by, right, and check out my channel,
I'd be
and
sweet.
you're gonna be like, damn, Storm, it does
Yeah.
look better. I see what Storm's talking about. But look, nah, seriously, it will look better. Like I for example, I told you earlier that I stream It Came From Space and Ate My Brains, right?
Mm-hmm.
That game does not need to be at 4K either.
Yeah.
However, it is at 4K 60 FPS, and if up to 4K, however you want to say it, it's 4K smooth. 60. I would be surprised if that's not 60 FPS, because the side-scrolling nature of these games, you can see in certain games is not well optimized or not locked at 60. Man, MM2K, you know what I'm saying, right? You
I
can
got
see
you.
at times when the camera is doing what the camera does. You're panning the camera and all that stuff. You can really see it. But look, people stopped by and said, Storm, this looks great on It Came From Space and Ate My Brains. Yeah, so I was like, how come that game could have 4K, but Grime doesn't right now? But it's all good because I knew 4K support was coming. You don't need 4K. I don't want to sound like that guy, because you just don't need it for a game like that. And if you're playing on a mobile device, like Jeff was saying, you definitely don't need 4K.
Yeah.
I mean, you just don't. All you need is 1080p. 720p will do you just good. So I get all of that stuff, man. But it was a fun discussion. I'll tell you that much. It's always interesting to talk 4K.
I want to say this. Shout out. We got some superstars in the house. Superstar. We got Jim with the $1.49 sticker. Thank you so much, Jim. We appreciate it, my good friend. And we also got the aforementioned John Scars, 4 Scars Gaming, with the $3
Shout out.
sticker.
Shout
Thank
out.
you so much. Thank you so much.
Calm voice of game reviews.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
If you're ever stressed or whatever, you just want to watch a stream and you need chilling down.
Yes,
bit
sir.
like ASMR or whatever. Just nice, calm, relax.
Yep. I'm trying to.
Then
Hey,
state what
John's the only guy we know, right? That
yeah.
could get killed and be like,
Oh,
well,
just a flesh wound.
Exactly, just a flesh wound. It's okay. We can respawn. That's the homie. That's the brother right there, John.
Hey,
Scar. Y'all
John.
better check him out. Y'all better check him out.
You
man.
let me know if you want in this Discord to handle these two. You know what I mean? Tell them that don't hate on your on your ability. No, I'm just.
That's not an insult. The 4K
No,
princess.
not.
That's an insult, man. You know what I mean? not being able to.
You
not
better
being able to
take
get
it.
kills in 4K, that's an insult.
Hey,
now, me
hey,
and
Storm.
Clive, we insulted each
Oh
other.
man, hey, you better take. Hey, look, Clive can take it just as well as he can dish it. I'll never forget that magical chalupa bit, and Clive was just sitting there like, you think that's cute? I got one for you. Hey, MM2K, you gonna take the lollipop out your mouth? I said,
yes, sir. But you gotta be able to do that though, man. That's why Clive can deal with the haters, you know.
Yes, he can.
That's why we can deal. Your skin has to be a little tougher to come over.
Yeah, it does. It does. And it's some of this. Oh, the toxic this and all that. A lot of it is going into the neither regions. Don't throw stones and hide your hands. You know what I mean? So, it's all good stuff here. All right. With that said, let's do this. Let's go to our final topic. It's a very interesting topic, and one that I thought that this panel would be perfect to talk about, because we all, crunch our numbers and do all this other stuff. Let me get Graham off the screen. And then we had a poll too, so I'm gonna give the results of the poll right now. I'm gonna close the poll. Let me do that. We had another poll. Are we gonna win this one, Storm? Nope, we lost this one too. Golly,
no, I hit that no.
You hit the no. Oh, you traitor!
I hit that no. So I'm good.
You hit that, you traitor! No,
I mean what I say. You don't need it. You don't need 4K when it comes to Grime. You just don't need it, bro.
Yeah, no, you don't. The question was, are you concerned that Grime did not release in 4K for Stadia? 79% said no. 20% said yes.
Says.
Yep. And poll complete. 24. We had 24 votes. So, all right. With that being said, let's do this. Let's talk about it. Good. Shout out to another good friend of ours, Jack Deslip, co-host of the Number Show for Stadia that airs. It's going to air this upcoming Sunday. It didn't air last Sunday because we got to give Jack time to compile this data. But check out for that show with me and Jack. All right, so here's the thing. Android TV app passed 100,000 users on August 1st. Now, why is that important? Well, first and foremost, when you look at the base Stadia app that was available that you had to use in order to play Stadia at all, it took that 2 weeks to get to 179,000 users on Android and iOS. This is just for Android TV, even though we're talking about 5 weeks. We're talking about 5 weeks in a day. It took it 5 weeks in a day to get to 100,000 users on Android TV, where again, the main app, this is the app during the launch. The main app during the launch, it took it 2 weeks to get 179,000 on Android and iOS. So this thing is growing at a crazy rate. But what do you guys think? Is it crazy enough? Is this a positive sign to you as far as saturation is concerned? Or is it just simply us diehard Stadia fans that are responsible for this 100,000? Let's start with Storm. We're going to work backwards. Start with Storm and go to Clive on this one. What do you think, Storm?
I'm glad I could go first on this one because, man, it's something I've been talking about for a long time now. When I, again, going back to those endpoints, those damn endpoints, for months now, we've been trying to just get people in the mindset of thinking that Stadia is going to be behind this platform. They are going to make moves. You're going to see Stadia grow. Like Grace, shout out to Grace Yang, she's the all-time GOAT, when it comes to community managers and all that. So Grace had been saying she happily tweeted that day when she happily tweeted that it's so nice to see your community growing. That just solidified all my thoughts right there. So I knew Stadia was already growing. But after that Dev Summit and after the Chromecast with Google TV and after all the announcement of all those devices and endpoints that Stadia was going to be on, I just said it, man. It just made too much sense that if you want to play games on the go, if you want to jump into a game right now, if you're going to do any research at all, you're going to look for the best performing cloud gaming service or platform, and you're going to see Google Stadia up there because everybody agrees that Stadia runs the best and all that. So these gamers are going to see it, like Clive said earlier, on their TV. They're going to hear, hey, can I play this on my phone? Wait a minute, I can?
Mm-hmm.
Wait a minute, you mean to tell me I don't even need 5G and I can play Stadia right now? Let me try it.
Yep.
I can play it directly on. So all these different devices that you can play Stadia on, you would have to assume that this is going to be tripled probably by the end of 2021, man. The amount of people probably might triple, bro, because of all Stadia has to do is just promote the product, get YouTube gaming behind it, which they're already doing, by the way. We highlighted that on the Revolutionary Storm as well, y'all. So there's so many dots that's connecting right now that says that Stadia is just going to be what we always believed it was going to be, y'all. It's just going to be one of the best places to play in the cloud. I am worried. We'll talk about this in the after show a little bit, but New World is making big moves. Mm-hmm. So we'll talk about that in the after show a little bit, I think.
What do you think, Clive? What do you think about the 100,000 in 5 weeks? Is that impressive to you?
Yeah, I think what's more impressive, are you gonna share the article? About the Game Daily Biz.
Game Day. Let me pull that one up. Let me see here. Hold on. Was that Game Daily Biz? Yeah, here we go.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Let's pull it up.
What's interesting? So when you think about, you compare it to the launch of Stadia and how many times the actual Stadia app, which you have to have in order to play it, as you said, was downloaded in that first week. To think how much now the TV app has been downloaded.
Yes.
Is encouraging, and as Jack has so beautifully demonstrated by using things called facts and numbers and data, there is an upward trajectory, a continual, and there has been significant peaks at certain times. And the first big peak, because I remember you and I looked at this because we were going to talk about it before.
Yes, we can talk about it now. Yes.
We were looking at different data that we had, and we were looking to see if we could correlate from it.
Yes.
And, whilst we couldn't sort of say what the numbers were, what we could do is pinpoint jumps in the number of Destiny players, or
Yep.
the number of Reddit users, or the number of mentions on Twitter, or whatever. There were data points out there that all had the same jump, the same pattern. And that was in April 2020, when the sort of free tier came available, and the announcement of PUBG and all that kind of stuff. So that was a significant moment. That was a moment within sort of Stadia's life cycle that had an impact and took Stadia to another level, and it's continued to grow steadily. There was another jump in and around sort of Cyberpunk time, I think, in the data generally. And so that was another sort of indicator as well. So that we've seen a slow, steady growth. But what's super interesting is that this article that you shared with us here, the Game Daily Biz one, I was reading it, is from, viewers can't see, but it was from November 22nd, 2019. And in it makes sort of, and a bit similar to the article that from ARS Technica that shout out Project Storm and Stadia Revolution, they covered it. The article interview with Phil Harrison from April 2019, when they talked about, it's not going to be overnight. It's not going to be a console. It's not going to kill off the console on November the 19th on the day it launches in 2019. You're going to wake up on the 20th and consoles no longer exist. Stadia didn't think that at all. They said as much it was it's a long, slow journey to the scale that they think they can reach. And it's interesting when you go back now and you judge everything that's happened, arguably bar the closing of Stadia Games and Entertainment. But if you look at the progress that's been made and compare it to what was actually said by Stadia, what was actually said by Google, not assumed, not sort of headlined and taken away and run with by other people who kind of seem to set their own expectations, and then when those expectations weren't met, assumed that therefore somehow Stadia had failed at launch or whatever.
Exactly.
All that kind of stuff.
Yep.
But the interviews that Phil Harrison gave before the launch of Stadia, when they officially announced Stadia for the first time, what they announced on that at GDC in March 2019, what they announced in the interviews following that, Phil Harrison directly with all the major tech blogs, the influencers, opinion leader tech blogs, all those things. And here in this article in Game Daily Biz, the quotes here from a strategist for gaming and VR and stuff like that, talked about the expectations of where they thought it might be. Stadia is, when we look at all of that and we look where Stadia is now, Stadia is hitting those targets or surpassing them.
Yep.
And that is what is interesting. If you go back, and I was writing a piece today for my members, and one of the things I kind of covered is about this need every so often for us to reset our expectations. Take our expectations back to what Stadia actually is, where it is in its life cycle, where it is compared to gaming platforms that have had a 25, 30-year pedigree and a 15, 20-year business model to get to where they are.
Exactly.
Stop comparing it wholesale with that. Compare, this game, is it 4K? Is it just like, Xbox Series X? Yeah, you can compare little bits, but you can't compare it wholesale with, it needs to have all the biggest games on there instantly because otherwise it's not, it should be absolutely competing parallel with PlayStation 5 and Xbox and all of that. When it's a brand new emerging market, it's only a tiny part of the overall size of that market.
Yep.
It's only still in 22 countries, 8 of
Yes,
which
thank
only
you.
came on board 8 months ago. But we forget.
Yes.
We forget. And you see every day numpties on Twitter going, "Oh, so much for the console killer." said no one.
Said no one.
Said no one at Google.
No one at Google.
Said plenty of numpties, but said no one at Google. And this is the thing. Just every so often, I think we get so wrapped up in, Xbox are doing this, PlayStation are doing this. But they've had 20 years income and 20 years brand establishment and 20 years pedigree. So that's why they're doing that.
Yep.
And Google never said that they would be instantly doing that on November the 20th, 2019. They said absolutely fundamentally. And when you go back and look at these old articles, they said it is and I've said it before, it is a journey. Mm-hmm. Come aboard this journey, founders and everybody else. And this is the vision. It's going to take a number of years to get there, but this is our vision. Come on board. And if you come on board, understanding that it is a journey to a vision that will take a number of years, I think you have to be pretty, reasonably happy or comfortable where Stadia currently is. It's on an upwards trajectory. It's going to reach more endpoints as we, come to the end of the year, and Android TV is rolled out more, or the updated version of it is rolled out more and more to your Sony TVs. LG TV launched their new TV collection later this year with the Stadia WebOS app baked in already.
Yep.
It's all an onwards and upwards trajectory, which is all good. But just reset your expectations and remember we're on a journey. And enjoy that journey.
Exactly.
I don't think this is the destination.
Right.
Yeah? It's like the Pilgrim Fathers.
Mm-hmm.
10 miles out of Dover going,
yes.
Oh, God, this is not the paradise I was expecting.
Oh, man.
Well, you've got a few months yet before you get to the new world.
Mm-hmm.
Segue to conversation later.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yep. Segue.
I just want to read something real quick to Cloud's point. I just want to put this up here because, again, whatever we can do to dispel rumors and myths and to educate those that may not be in the know, let's do it. This is the interview from that featured Maj Bakar and Phil Harrison, where they were interviewed by Richard Ledbetter all the way back in 2019, several months before the platform launch. And Richard asked him in the final question of that interview. That's why it's important to pivot from facts, and also, it's okay to engage certain conversations for entertainment purposes, but don't rest your knowledge base on them because they'll take you down the wrong path. Do you think, Richard asked Phil Harrison, do you think local gaming and traditional console model, is this the beginning of the end, aka the console killer? Pay attention to Phil Harrison's response. It is not for me to say. I think there's a new way to develop games, a new way to discover games, and a new way to enjoy games because of Stadia. We have significant aspirations for the future, and we want to get to a very substantial scale. It's not going to happen overnight, and we are completely respectful of everything that has come before us in the industry, and that's got us to this point. We want the whole industry to be successful, and we want the whole industry to grow. That wasn't something that just happened 5 minutes ago. That interview came in March 21st, 2019. So again, to Cloud's point, said no one at Google. What are your thoughts, Storm, on this before we begin to wrap up?
There's nothing else to be said, fellas. I think Clyde broke it down really, really well. And I just want to point out something, man. A company like Google, you have to think about this for a minute, right? When it comes to investors and all that stuff, man, Microsoft, I don't know the nooks and crannies of it, but I would assume that investors had to have known that Stadia was not going to be profitable overnight, right?
Yeah.
Because Google knew that. They knew that. And Google knew that Microsoft with Xbox wasn't profitable overnight. So they had to know this because they're Google. They pay attention to all of the stuff. You know what I mean? So I just don't understand why somebody in less than 2 years would really expect for Stadia to be out here selling millions of premiere editions or whatever the case is. I'm talking about like millions of everything, right? I don't understand why somebody could realistically expect that, especially when Google was telling us that it's going to be a slow burn, so to speak, man. So
exactly.
I don't know. That's all I had to say, man. I think this has been one of the best shows we've ever done. I can tell you that much.
Yep. And let me close out the poll, our fantastic poll, which asked, the final question was, are you impressed that Stadia on Android TV app reached 100,000 in 5 weeks? 83% of y'all said yes. 17% said no, and that's out of 24 votes. So, hey, look, it definitely is impressive. Thanks for Clive for having me put up that article, because it just points out that the rate that it's growing at, man, this is a sight to be seen.
Tell me more than 5 or 6 people are interested in Stadia. Is that what you're telling me now?
Just, you know what? No, there's only 5 people interested, Storm. I'm gonna tell you what I'm being told. There's more than 5. There's only 5 people interested, but the other are 20 sock accounts for me and you. That's what they are.
Oh, got it.
Clive put in a couple too. He put in a couple sock accounts too.
Okay.
So, but with that said, that's it for today's show. It was a hell of a show. You guys were engaged. Thank you so much for your participation and your support. We appreciate all of y'all. And here's what we're going to do. Once a month, we are going to make the after party. Clive, can you stay a little bit for the after party, or you got to go?
I can stay. Yeah, I can.
Okay. All right. We're going to go to the after party a little bit after this. I got to set the after party up. But we're going to go to the after party after this. Here's what we're going to be talking about there. We're going to be talking about Project Storm wants to talk about New World. We're going to talk about that New World because he said there's some things that's concerning him there. Some things that are concerning him there.
And also, it might be a lot of good in that too.
Absolutely. Also, we're going to talk about the Stadia tech. We're just going to touch on that. There's been some tech reveals that have been given by Stadia. It's some fantastic stuff. Definitely want to see what that's all about, and we'll talk about it. We'll get everybody's thoughts on the panel for that one. So let me schedule it. Let me create this first and foremost. That'd be a smart thing to do. We're gonna post to members. Join us for after show. Oh, right. Okay.
Why are you doing that, man? Shout out to everybody in this chat. Shout out to Amanor.
Yeah.
Shout out to Amanor, man, for always hanging out. You know what I mean, and opening our eyes. I had to say something to Amanor today because he shined a little bit earlier in the chat, so I had to come out and say something to the homie Amanor about those SSDs. But this is all fun for anybody that just stumbled by for the first time. Yeah. It's all fun. There's toxicity out there, but this is not the place for it. We really just try to produce some eye-opening lines in the chat sometimes. So it is what it is. But everybody here knows Amanor, man. That is the homie right now. He wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Stadia doing big things,
Exactly. So let me do this. Let me edit. I'm gonna add this to but can you shout out the chat real quick? Just a couple people out in the chat.
Oh, most definitely, man. We got Tommy Rocks out there. Just became a prescription member. He's going to be tuning in, I'm sure. You know what I'm saying? For this one right here, we have Clive out here that just made this show what it is today, y'all. So you never know what's going to be said over there in the after party when the lights go out. So we got Roger up in the building, man. Of course, Amanor was up in here. We got Steven, Fanboy. We got Junior Thanos in the house, man. Stop by. We are Four Scars Gaming. He knows it's all love. He knows what the deal is, y'all. Check him out. He's always doing big things, and he is cool, and he is laid back, and he is calm, but he's also knowledgeable, y'all, especially when it comes to these games, so check him out. Always giving back to the community, all communities, not just this one, y'all. That's what makes him John Scar. So we have up here, let me see, man, there was so many people. Jim stopped through, y'all. Who else, man? So Charles was in the house. We have the Nightbot. Can't forget about the Nightbot. we appreciate everybody that contributed to the channel with super chats or super stickers or whatever, man. That goes a long way in helping us do the things that we do, which is try to get back ourselves. All right. Marcus G. Knight was up in here. Gamer, Jeff G. Dominicano. We had Lord Vivek stopping by.
Lord
It was
Vivek.
good to see him. We got, I said Marcus G. Knight. Actuary Stud was in the building. Proto P. I know Project Kill was here, so I'm gonna say his name early as I go up, man. The chat is moving. Vic Del Mastro was in the house, man. And so many other people. Cloudbusters, man. So Romello Thomas. So many people stopped through, man. It's just good to see all of you each and every week. And for everybody that's new, I hope you hit that subscribe button, man, because it's something I think you want to do when you come for the updates and the content is just gonna make a lot more sense than not. This would be a good place to come, y'all. I just wanted to say that because I mean it. So.
All right. Shout out to everybody. Thank you so much. We're going to move to the after hour show. Normally what the show will do is bounce you over, but something janky's happening with YouTube and it's not letting me do that. So please follow that link. There's a link that I just put in there is for the after hour show. So join us there. And all members are now welcome to the after hour show. We're going to see you there. And until next time, have a wonderful game. Oh, before we go, Clive, let everybody know where they can find you at, good brother.
Yeah, you can find me at Clive Illington on Twitter if you're interested in an opinion or two. And then on Monday nights, 10 p.m. UK time, the Stadia Monday Night Chat.
Absolutely.
Where I also have an opinion or two.
I can't survive a Monday without it, man. I appreciate it.
You know.
All right, y'all. With that said, that's it for the show. Meet us over in the after party. Peace.